Hello everyone, welcome back to the game room. Flazipper here. Today we're going to look at some pickups over the last few months that I've made. More than noteworthy ones. I picked up a number of games, but these are the highlights you could say. But before we did that, I wanted to thank everyone so far and all the positive feedback for my channel. It's really gone way better than I could have ever hoped, so thanks to everyone who's watched. Going forward, I do see myself doing maybe some more Saturn reviews, Dreamcast, maybe Nintendo 64, Sega CD, but I'm definitely in a PlayStation 1 mood right now, and I've got a couple more PS1 games in the pipeline. Spoilers, the next review will probably be Apocalypse for the PS1, and it's a great game. But thanks to everyone who's watched. Let's get into the pickups. First game, Loaded for the Sega Saturn. Now, I did the PS1 review of Loaded. Ever since then, I had a save search for the Saturn version. Finally found one that's decent shape. It does have a broken tab up here, but as far as Saturn cases go, I mean, it's, as long as the hinges aren't broke, you pretty much consider yourself lucky. The Saturn version isn't necessarily, it's not as good as the PS1 version. It doesn't run quite as well, but I'm always on the lookout for Saturn games. I think this is the 49th or 50th Saturn game I've managed to add to the collection over the years. Happy to add it. Next up, another Saturn game, Tetris Plus. And I actually found this one in the wild, which is pretty rare for Sega Saturn games. Found this at a game store in Northwest Indiana, kind of near Chicago. I believe the town's called Crown Point. Next Generation Gaming, I believe, is the game store. I actually had a number of Sega Saturn games. Not a lot of heavy hitters. This was kind of the best one of the lot, but it's Tetris. Tetris Plus adds an adventure mode. This game was also released on the PlayStation 1. Just happy to add a Sega Saturn game from the wild to the collection. Great case, good shape. Tetris. Yep, sign me up for that. The lone NES game I picked up, Section Z by Capcom, early NES shooter. When I go to a game store, I don't really look at the NES unless I don't see anything from the PlayStation section, or it's basically the last section I'll look at. I saw this one, an early Capcom game, NES. I don't have it, or I didn't have it, so managed to pick it up. It's under $10. I haven't played through it. I don't think it necessarily has great reviews. But I really just couldn't pass it up. An NES Capcom game, cheap, that I don't have. Sign me up for that one too. Next up, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. In the last pickup video, I found the PS1 version of Legacy of Kain, and I figured if I was going to play through it, I would want to play through the Dreamcast version. So I kept an eye out for the Dreamcast version, and it didn't take long. I think just a couple weeks after that, I was at a disc replay, and they had 2 copies of this. I think it was $25, so not too expensive, all things considered, for how supposedly good of a game it is. When I do review a Dreamcast game, this will probably be the first one when I get around to it. This is only, I think, the 12th Dreamcast game I've ever picked up. 12th one on the list. Happy to add Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Next game on the list here, Adventures of Lomax. Now this is kind of a heavy hitter for the PS1. Uncommon game, Psygnosis. I believe it was 1996. Based off Lemmings. I believe these are like Lemmings characters. This game is fairly uncommon, fairly expensive. I've had a save search for this game for a long time. One finally came up at a price I was willing to spend, and I finally got it. It's a platformer. Looks pretty good. It's kind of in the graphical style, like a Rayman. Holds up very well. I haven't played much of it as of yet. It seems pretty difficult. I definitely struggled, but finally able to knock that off the PS1 list and add it to the PS1 collection. Next up, Armored Core Master of Arena. Now I had Armored Core, the original Armored Core, back in the 90s when the series initially came out. Very fun mech game, although I think I spent more time actually building my mech and customizing my mech than playing. But I mean, good gameplay too. This is one of the sequels. There were 3 on the PS1. This one, Master of Arena. There's also Project Phantasma, which I don't have. I'm not sure which one was second, which one was third, but got a complete version here. Prices of these have really, well, I mean, price of every game has skyrocketed, but Master of Armored Core series, maybe because there was a new version that just came out, but expensive game. Got it. Once again, found this at a pretty reasonable price. Now I just need to keep an eye out for Project Phantasma. Next game, another PS1 game. Azure Dreams, Konami. It is a PS1 RPG under $100. It's kind of creeping towards $100, so got a good deal on this one. This is kind of, from everything I've read on this, it seems very up my alley, something I'm very interested in. It's got kind of roguelike elements with randomly generated dungeons. And it kind of has what I hear to be like a Pokemon element where you have creatures or monsters that you also have to level up. So I hope to play through this one at some point fairly soon. It has a lot of elements that I'm interested in. And it's Konami, the good era of Konami. So look for that one hopefully sometime fairly soon. Next game on the list, Twisted Metal 4. Now, I didn't have Twisted Metal 4, so this completes my PS1 Twisted Metal set. Twisted Metal 4 and Twisted Metal 3 were both not created by the original developer Single Track. Sony's in-house studio took over. They definitely have a different feel. Not as good, in my opinion, as the first couple. But I haven't played this one a whole bunch. I've played a lot more Twisted Metal 3. Yeah, this isn't a very expensive game. I think I got this for $20. I just saw it at a disc replay. Oh, I'm like, well, if I don't have Twisted Metal 4, I better grab it. So another one in the PS1 set. And speaking of PS1, some more PS1. As you can tell, I'm kind of in a PS1 mood. Not just because I'm just reviewing nothing but PS1 games right now, but all my pickups. Arc the Lad Collection, Working Designs. Actually, 4 amazing RPGs. Arc the Lad 1, Arc the Lad 2, 3. Comes with a making of CD. Now, this version is not complete. It's in pretty good shape, like the cardboard's in good shape. It does have all the discs, has the book. But some of the extras from the Omake box, I don't know how you pronounce that. It's missing a few pieces. These are like analog stick covers. It's missing one, I believe, that says Arc the Lad. And there is some cardboard. Some cardboard ephemera that I don't remember exactly what it was. But for the price I got this, I was okay missing those pieces. It doesn't necessarily bother me. Just glad to grab this one. Now, you don't hear much about Arc the Lad nowadays. It's definitely not a series I'm familiar with, but Working Designs, just happy to grab this one. Add it to the PS1 set. And finally, the last pickup. Not a game here, but I did pick up the Retrobit Sega Saturn wireless controller. It actually, the thing that I really liked about it was that it came with the 2 receivers, the 2 dongles. You have the one for USB for computer, and then it comes with the receiver that actually goes on the Sega Saturn. I got the white version, just something different. You know, we didn't get that in the US. It's the Japanese Saturn. It feels pretty good. Feels pretty similar to the OEM controller, in my opinion. Love the color design, color layout here. It was a little tricky to get set up on the PC. The mappings were a little wonky. But I finally got it set up. Feels great, works great. And it's nice to have it for the Saturn itself. So I can just sit wherever and not have to worry about the cable. Yeah, those are my pickups for this month, guys. Going forward, probably some more PS1 stuff coming, although I do plan to eventually review Saturn games, Dreamcast, maybe a Nintendo 64 game or two, basically 32-bit era and later. But I want to thank everyone so far for all the feedback. That's all I got for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.